Now, there's been a significant increase in cases of Lyme disease in the UK, and a study of GP records suggests that the condition may be 3 times more common than currently reported. The official estimate for the UK is around 2,000 to 3,000 new cases of Lyme disease annually, and that's based on laboratory data in England and Wales and centralised reporting in Scotland. But if the numbers continue to increase at a similar rate, this is really concerning. Experts believe the UK could see an excess of 8,000 cases this year. Now, it's a bacterial infection. It's spread to humans via bites from infected ticks, and symptoms can include a circular red rash, often described as a bullseye on a dartboard. You might get flu-like symptoms. If it's not treated properly with antibiotics, it can cause pain and swelling and nerve and heart problems, etc. Now, experts say that prevention is key, and they are urging people to avoid dense vegetation, tuck their trousers into their socks and use tick repellents. Now, I spoke with Julia Knight earlier. She's from the charity Lyme Disease UK, and she's also a Lyme disease sufferer.
Lyme disease is a bacterial infection. It's spread by an infected tick bite.
So when the tick itself, what would I know what a tick looks like, but do the ticks that are infected look any different?
No, they don't. And sadly, they don't carry a label saying I'm infected. So the best thing is to prevent a tick bite in the first place. The most important thing is, if you find a tick on you, is to remove it correctly with a tick tool or a pair of fine tip tweezers. Then be vigilant over the next few days. Some people get a rash that sometimes can resemble a bullseye type shape, or it can be a flat red rash. The nature of it slowly spreads outwards. So if you get that rash and you think, then go to your GP. That is diagnostic for Lyme disease in itself. It doesn't need blood tests. It should be treated straight away.
So a tick will bite and attach itself. It will never just bite and then disappear. So you will know you've been caught by a tick because you will see it attached to it. They never just bite and go away like a mosquito.
No. What they're looking for is food. So they're looking for a meal of blood. So they attach to you and feed, and then they'll grow quite big. They can resemble a baked bean size. But they like to find nice warm places, and people often don't realise they've been bitten because once they've had their feed, they fall off.
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Now, you mentioned a sort of a tick removal tweezers or something similar. You mentioned a moment or two ago, and I'm wondering whether it would be a good idea to actually carry something around with you if you're going on a long walk into the countryside.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody in any country pursuits, but even, taking your kids out in grassy areas, if everybody had a tick tool, which are just pennies from either vets or a countryside shop, various online shops sell them, or even a pair of very fine tip tweezers, not the ones you do your eyebrows with, you can use those as well. So if everybody had one of those in their first aid kit, that would be amazing.
I remember as a child when I was growing up and you would find a tick on your dog, for example, we were always told not to sort of just pull it out because you might leave legs behind. Does that still apply for ticks that I might find on myself?
Yes, so that's the reason for having a tick tool or the tweezers, to get it out in one go. They've got different techniques for the different tools. Sometimes you can get a little bit left in. People think they've left the head of the tick in, but actually they've just left the mouth parts of the tick.
Oh, goodness.
And but the body will get rid of that just like it would any other foreign body. So it's not panic stations.
Now, it sounds very interesting. Now, the estimate for the UK is that there's around 2,000 to 3,000 new cases of Lyme disease annually that are being reported. And if they can keep increasing at a similar rate, the experts believe that we could see an excess of 8,000 cases a year. Is there a way of, it makes me think about whether the amount of ticks carrying this disease is increasing, and therefore if there's anything we can do at that level to somehow stop it being spread within the ticks. Do we know how it spreads, or...?
No, we don't really. We don't. And it from my experience working for Lyme Disease UK, the number of people we get coming to us for advice is just growing week on week. And so many people are not aware of Lyme disease. not aware of that you should protect yourself from tick bites. Everybody protects themselves from mosquitoes when we go on our holidays, but nobody thinks in this country to buy a bit of repellent, which would stop the tick biting you.
Oh, would it? Now that's useful. So you could pop that on, well, ankles, I guess, and
Any exposed skin.
it'll skin.
Yeah.
Now, let's say you get bitten and you remove the tick, or you see evidence that a tick has perhaps been on you and fallen off. As you said, they may fall off once they finish feeding. What sort of symptoms should we be looking out for?
So initially, some people get the rash we've discussed, but not everybody gets that rash. So the next thing to look for is a flu-like illness at a time of year you wouldn't normally expect to get the flu.
So would that be a sort of a aching in the joints?
Yeah, headache, neck ache, achy joints maybe, fever, and you do feel generally very unwell.
Oh, good. And is there any signs of that, then just go straight to your GP?
Yeah, and say that you could you've had a tick bite, or you could have possibly been exposed to a tick bite.
And as well as carrying around this sort of small tool that you mentioned that you can have in your first aid kit, and there's a repellent you can use, what else can you do to avoid being picked up by a tick as such?
I think the most important thing is wear appropriate clothing. Don't go walking around the countryside in your shorts and flip-flops. If you have to, put some repellent on. Wear light-coloured clothing because you can spot them easier because they're dark. Make sure if you're out and about in such areas, bearing in mind people have been bitten in urban parks and gardens.
I was going to ask that. It's not just the countryside then.
No. Every evening or when you get back, check yourself from head to toe, check your children and check your pets regularly, particularly at this time of year.
Speaking to me earlier today, Julia Knight, she's from the charity Lyme Disease UK, and she's also a Lyme disease sufferer. And that was very interesting, wasn't it? Lots of good tips there, especially about the little implement that you can carry around with you and putting on repellent as well. If you've got any advice, 08000 665 949 or text 81333, starting your message with the letters LN.